Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
Good to be with you, my friend. You look well.
Thank you. You do as well. It's a pretty snazzy shirt.
Thank you. Well, I'm old school. I'm OG. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm OG.
Well, it's going to be a great show today. We've got some great sponsors.
Yes. Stewart Mortuary. Unfortunately, if you have to go to that place of bereavement, Stewart Mortuary will be there for you to make sure that all your needs are met.
Or plan for it.
Or plan for it. Pre-planning is also available.
Yeah. Lee Cossell and Crowley.
Yes. Attorney Nathaniel Lee, along with his host of attorneys, are doing a great job throughout our city. Not only that, there's a school on the Far East Side that's doing a great job, Fervent Care Christian Academy.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Just give us a few seconds.
Christian, clean, caring, and convenient.
Great.
Choose Christian schools and child cares. They are closer to Christ.
And we need to be conscious of the fact that we always are looking for sponsors to help us to continue to connect with the community.
Yeah. So, speaking of connection, please go to YouTube and subscribe. You can watch this show when it's over. You can also watch other shows of pertinent information that could be a blessing to your life on forward. Also go to Facebook, like us on Facebook, and follow us.
Yes, and if you didn't catch the last show, you can catch the last to the last to the last show on Facebook and on YouTube. On YouTube.
So Sundays at 5:30 p.m. and on Fridays just before the basketball games at 9:30. You can check out the show twice a week.
Right. We thank God for that privilege as well.
Absolutely. So stay with us. We've got a very exciting guest that's going to be with us in just a few moments. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson, your host.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore, the co-host.
You want to get right into our guest here. Welcome to the program,
Thank
Wendy
you.
Miles Robbins.
Yes, I know, it's a mouthful.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for the opportunity, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And you have a business, Miles Printing Corporation.
Yes, I do. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit about the story, how Miles came to be. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting story. We were very blessed. My great-grandfather started the company in 1920, and I come from kind of a family of entrepreneurs and risk takers, and he decided to partner up with someone, and we moved that company and grew it, and we were located in Indianapolis. And then through a series of things, my grandfather became ill, and my father took over the company. He had actually sold printing to get himself through school. We're a printer. We'll get into that in a second. But he actually became a stockbroker, but came back, took over the company, and then I went to Purdue and got my degree in sports medicine. And one day my father called me up and he said, "Hey, do you have any friends that can sell printing?" And I said, "Well, what about me? I have a degree and I can maybe do something." And he said, "Well, okay, I don't know, come on in." And so I did, and had my resume and had my suit on, and it was funny, I walk in and he's like, "Wow," and I said, "Well, you did put me through school. I do have some skills." So he sat me down and he said, "I'll give you 6 months, and I'm not going to give you any accounts. There's no nepotism here. Mm-hmm. If you make it, great. If you don't, I'm going to have to kick you out." Wow. I said, "All right." So here I am 25 years later. We actually sold the company to a company called SPG Graphics in 2004. And then in 2006, my colleague Lynn Churchill had a great idea to pull that company out and make it 100% woman-owned. And to give you an idea of how wonderful this is, in 2004, our revenue was $3 million, and last year it was $13 million.
Wow. Congratulations.
So, yeah, thank you. It's been a great journey.
Women power. Woman power.
Yes, woman power. Yes, it does some good, that's for sure.
Really? So you're the not the sole owner, but you're one of the owners.
One of the owners,
And 2004, you pull out.
Or 2006. So we joined SPG Graphics. We were completely bought out.
Okay.
And then Lynn had the great idea of pulling it out, and with the state's help, made it 100% woman-owned in 2006. So.
With the state's help?
Yes.
Explain that to people who have a desire to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so if you're interested in becoming a minority supplier, no matter what that minority may be, or you're a small business, you get in touch with the state, and they have a representative that'll come out and meet you and walk you through the steps. And it's not an easy process. There's an awful lot of paperwork. If you're going to be doing something like that, you need to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row and your I's dotted and T's crossed. But, you know, if it's a legitimate company and you know, you've got your business plan in place and things, they're pretty good to you. You should be able to get certified.
State of Indiana.
So
Yeah.
mentoring is important to you and
Yes.
the folks that you're connected to. How important is that?
Mentoring is a big deal. So when I came over from what used to be Miles Press, and again, we're a print and fulfillment company, and we got bought out, there was a gentleman by the name of Bob Porman, who was one of the owners of SBG. And he kind of took me under his wing, and it was, he'd been in business for a long time and really just a very astute business person. And he put me through the ringer a couple times, sent me out to the wolves a few times by myself, you know, to see if I could handle it. And I have learned a great deal from him. And he unfortunately passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease a couple years ago. But just the wealth of knowledge I got from him has helped me move forward in the way that I did. And then I've got spiritual also people in my life that
Have God in your life.
absolutely, yeah, I do.
He makes a difference, doesn't he?
And I think
Makes a huge
off air,
difference.
you said your husband's a PK?
Yes, my husband is he's a preacher's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know how I do it without it. And I look at this opportunity as this is something that I've been blessed with. I'm a steward of what I've been blessed with, and if you know, I walk in the door every day with that kind of attitude.
How do you feel knowing God's hand is on your life?
It's amazing.
It is an amazing feeling.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, it's like an exciting journey every day. It's an adventure, and
As you
it's
were
fun.
mentored, have you carried that forward?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Great.
In fact, one of the funny things is, so in our office, I had a cube, and I didn't move into an office. I actually have now what we call the double wide cube. So, so I've got a chair there, and it's funny. A lot of employees or people will come by and ask for advice or just talk about things, and I enjoy that. You know, I enjoy getting to know our employees the best I can and being there for them, and you know, as those were there for me.
The psalmist says, "What shall I render?" So you're
Yeah.
rendering to God by helping other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
And you said printing and fulfillment.
Yes.
So tell us what that's about.
Yeah, so who we are and what we do. So we are a print and fulfillment company, and we also have a suite of other services that we offer. Like we build websites, print on demand portals. We do a lot of mailing. We do wide format printing, like the signs you see behind you. We do things like that. And we specialize in working with the highly regulated industries like life science, financial, and things of that nature. And that's because we put money and time into getting a lot of certifications that they require.
Okay.
So one, for instance, would be HIPAA compliant. So if we're dealing with sensitive information, we have to be HIPAA compliant to be able to do that. So a lot of companies like a Lilly, Roche, Mead Johnson, those are some of our larger customers in town.
Yeah, it's great clients.
Yeah, they've been really good to us. They really have. Great
And you've
partners.
been good to them, I can tell.
Yeah,
So your most
we love our partners, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
your most fulfilling part of the job?
People.
People?
Yeah, our company really, we want to make a positive difference in the lives of our employees, but we also want to empower them to be able to make positive changes or whatever they want to do, you know, out there in the community or at home, and that's at least that's what makes us tick and what makes me tick. I just
How
love
many
people.
employees do you have?
We have 36, and then in our building we also have a strategic partner called Harding Porman Group, and they have, I think in total we have about 133 or so. So it's a big facility on the
Kinda-
northwest side.
Kind of sounds like the beginnings of a possible book.
That's funny you said that. So I've been wanting to write a book, and one I started out as a comedy, and then it's just sitting on a shelf right now. I'm not sure what to do with it. Another one kind of has a spiritual bent, and then I wanted to write a children's book. So I've got several started, but I can't get past chapter 3.
I understand.
Don't know what to do.
Yeah,
So-
I'll be praying for you to get those out.
Thank you.
Maybe the history of the company would also be a great book.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat
Going all the
story.
way back to 1920.
Yeah, I'm sure my grandfather's he can't believe how far this has come.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, just shocking. And I was the only family member that was,
Interested?
dumb enough to stick around. The rest just fled.
All the best to the work that you all are doing.
Yeah.
And if
Thank
people
you.
want to connect with your company, how do they do that?
They can go to our website. It's www.milesprinting.com. And just check us out.
Right here again, right there.
Oh, okay.
in that camera.
It's www.milesprinting.com. If you want to get in touch with us, just go to the website and there's a contact page there and send me a note.
All right. Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Bless you.
Bless you too.
Stay with us. We have more to come. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson,
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
and we're joined today by Miss Felicia Brewer
Yes.
of Brewer and Associates.
Yes, that's me.
Tell us about your company.
Brewer and Associates was founded in 2003 by the grace of my mother, who had a lot more wisdom than I did at that time. We do fundraising and nonprofit management for organizations with budgets of $28 million. No, let's try that again. With budgets of $10 million or less.
And you have
I
exceeded.
have raised
There
over
we go.
$28 million during my career, yes.
And that's an extraordinary amount of money.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So, with regard to nonprofits, particularly churches, and Dr. Moore, you know, a lot of times when we're trying to get resources for programs, have you found that a lot of times churches are not prepared to go before the grantors?
Absolutely. There's limited funding just for congregations
Why
across
is
the
that
board.
before you move on? Why is that?
Funders' preference.
Okay.
I would say the biggest thing is the separation of church and state.
Okay.
But there are a lot of funders that do provide funding for congregations that do provide, after-school programming or homeless, feeding programs, whichever.
Okay.
So when it comes to getting prepared to have a successful package, that's something certainly that you all do. What's the first step?
Getting your 501c3 is the first step. Then second is creating your board of directors. And that's a big stumbling block for a lot of organizations to find, especially for congregations, finding members or board members outside of their congregation who will participate in their programs, strategic planning, fundraising, and then really the capacity building, working on that.
Outstanding. So you've been doing this for quite some time.
14 years.
And how'd you get into it?
I was working for an organization, and but I was in my volunteer life. I kept being asked to do a strategic plan or fundraising plan or help with whatever special event. And then it was my mother who said, "Hey, I think you can make some money at this," and I was like, "Okay," but. That's what I did. So we started I say we because she was my financial backer, she was my coach, and everything else. So got started and been going through gangbusters ever since.
And how can people connect with your business?
They can certainly call me. My telephone number is 317-445-8932, or you could email me at fbrewer@fbaresources.com.
Give all of that again, please.
It's a lot, isn't it? It's
Your telephone number?
317-445-8932, and my email is fbrewer@fbaresources.com.
So Felicia, when you talk about getting into this process, a lot of times churches or other organizations who want to be nonprofit may come, want to get something going right away. A lot of times the leadership is thinking about now. What can you tell us about the process?
I would say be clear on what you want to do. That's the biggest thing that I find organizations have the challenge with. They was like, okay, we want to work with kids. Okay, what do you want to do with them? So whether that's tutoring or whether that's mentoring or financial literacy, whatever it looks like for the kids, be clear on what you want to do. Make sure that you have volunteers. Make sure that you have what we call evidence-based curriculum, because funders want to see that you're not reinventing the wheel. So it's important to make sure that you have things that are in place that are evidence-based, but what that means is they have the research to back whatever that program is.
Which is difficult for a lot of nonprofits, is having.
But it's really not, because there's a lot of free resources out there. One of the things I do pride myself on is I give a lot of free information away. But I'm very blessed that people share a lot of information with me. So I just kind of keep a clearinghouse of, whether it's, it could be anything from a plumber all the way to, what is a good financial literacy program for our students.
Wow. So the length of time that it generally takes to process through all of getting a 501c3, and then of course being able to get that grant in, what can people expect as far as time is concerned?
So the 501c3 process typically takes anywhere from 4 to 9 months, depending on the complexity and the reviewer from the IRS. But actually, they can get started sooner than later while they're waiting for their 501c3, just by partnering with someone. One of the things that funders really want to see in the community is collaboration, partnership, strategic partners, all kinds of good names. And the importance of that, one, is that it increases the capacity of the organization. But for the congregation who doesn't have a track record, it's an opportunity for them to actually start a program, and they kind of, work the kinks out before they're actually going for that grant. Because if they're not grant ready, then they're not going to get funded. So it's my job to put them in that position.
To be grant ready.
Absolutely.
Now, do you also provide any seminars for folks who may have folks in their churches or within their organizations who want to do what you do?
I do. I'm at the end of my year. I was doing a workshop series at the East 38th Street Library, and I've been doing that for about 4 years. So tonight is actually the last one, and it's called The Budding Entrepreneur, How to Think, The Budding Entrepreneur Moving Up. And it's really about how do you leverage your community resources in order to increase your capacity. But aside from that, I designed a curriculum in 2014. It's called Capacity Building from Concept to Execution. And I use that as a model just because of over the years that I've done the workshops, I've figured out what needs to be done, but also the delivery model that needs to be presented to grassroots organizations.
And do you find, Felicia, that there's a lot of money that goes back? Because, and kind of give us a semblance of just how much goes back.
Oh, that's just so painful for a person like me. Money goes back typically when the organization doesn't meet the expectations. So whatever they said that they were going to do with the money or the grant, it goes back because they didn't do what they said that they were going to do. But the other part of that, which even hurts my heart even more, is the amount of untapped revenue that is available in the community.
For grants?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Are we talking millions?
We're talking millions.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a search, and this has been a few years ago, but just in federal money, and I think this was like in 2014, there was close to $1.7 billion that was untapped of federal money.
Wow.
Now that's, across all programs.
Right.
But, if nobody's going after that money or nobody's researching it, then it doesn't get used.
And then what I hear in the grant arena is the habit of guidelines.
Yes.
The guidelines, some guidelines automatically knock you out of the ballpark before you can even get started. Is that true?
That is true. But keep in mind, the guidelines are to weed you out versus weed you in.
Right.
But what's important is doing a very targeted funder research if we're talking about grant writing. And there's a search engine that I use, which is called the Foundation Center Directory. You can go there, it's free at the downtown library, and you can actually just you walk yourself through and look to see, based on your programs and your mission, what funders would actually support what you do.
That's amazing.
Or they could just give Felicia a call.
Give Felicia a call.
Yeah, I like that one better.
Thanks
But
for
definitely.
coming. Appreciate it.
Call her, give her a call.
Yeah. All the best to what you do.
Thank you.
And how you do it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. And thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the rundown. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And I'm your executive producer, Faith McKinney.
Yeah, we've missed you.
Oh, I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, got some mighty, look at those guns on that young lady.
Oh gosh, my trainer's gonna be mad. Mike Ford, don't look.
Exciting couple of segments with the all-woman-owned printing business.
Miles Printing,
Miles
something?
Printing, yeah,
Yes.
that's huge.
$13 million last year. Is that what she said?
Oh yeah, they are a huge woman-owned company, and they're really proud of that fact that they're all woman-owned, and man, they're doing phenomenal work all over the country.
And she seems excited about it.
Oh yeah, they do printing for mostly life sciences. So they're talking, the Roches and and all the Lillies, all those people. That's who they're doing
Merck
business with.
and all of those.
Merck, yes.
That's one of the good things about this show, among many things, is that you meet so many people that are doing things.
Right.
There's a lot going on in this city. That's good.
Yeah, and we want to give our producer some credit on that. She makes sure we have the right people here at the right time. And if you want to be on this show, it's a great show to be on. Get that lady
Absolutely.
down that way.
Faith McKinney,
Faith
everybody knows
McKinney,
Faith.
everybody knows Faith, and she can get you on the show, and we'll approve if you can come on or not.
right.
Felicia Brewer.
Felicia Brewer.
Brewer and Associates.
Yes,
She is one of the premier
Right.
grant
she
writers.
is.
Yes.
She is, and she also gives seminars as well.
Yeah.
So at the library, she does seminars. I took one of her seminars, and man, she knows what she's talking about.
I've used her services, and when she gets rolling, I mean, she's a dynamo.
She is.
That's what we need in our community, people who are passionate about what they do to help the community.
Yeah. And the information.
Right.
She's saying that millions of dollars are
Yeah.
untapped,
Yep.
and a lot of money goes back.
Yeah. I think one of the things is, how business owners use grants and go to look for them. They need to know what to expect. And so working with Felicia will help you know what to expect.
I like what you said about the guidelines. The guidelines are there to weed you out,
Yeah.
which is a phenomenal way to understand grant writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need Felicia Brewer.
That's right.
Be sure to contact her. Thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe to the WHNB TV 40 YouTube channel. Also go to Facebook, follow us on Facebook, and like us. You can see this show on Sundays after church at 5:30 p.m. or just before going to church, or you can watch it on Friday nights before basketball. We'll see you next time.